Hi, welcome to the channel. Whether you are an oil pastel enthusiast or just a lover of fine art, I hope you enjoy my videos. Today's project is a contemporary portrait that I call Defiance. I think it pretty much sums up what a lot of folks are feeling these days. And I really worked hard to capture that sense of not accepting the status quo in the expression of the woman in the painting. As you can see, when I start an oil pastel painting, I really try to get the darkest colors down first. I find that I need that to really understand the contrast between the highlights that I really want to pop at the end of the painting and the shadow areas that really make the contrast between light and dark really apparent to the viewer of the art you're creating. A lot of folks might look at the portrait and wonder how I chose the colors that I chose. Um, Oddly to me, they're really not that far off from natural colors. They are just a little more exaggerated. They're more bold. Maybe that's a better description. And I think it's what sets a portrait apart from maybe the older style of portraiture where matching exact skin tones was really critical to the artist. I'm not that way. I like to capture colors that emulate the emotions that I'm trying to show in my portraits. And that's where my choices really come from. The word defiance, to me, the immediate colors that I think of are reds and purples and really deep gold colors, powerful, almost colors that indicate royalty, because it is the courage to defy that makes a lot of people really special. The paper that I'm working on here is a 140-pound cold press paper, a watercolor paper, and it's pulp based. I have tried and do work on 100% cotton paper on occasion, but quite frankly, blending is very important to me when working with my oil pastels, and I find that 100% cotton paper makes blending much more difficult because the fibers of the paper want to absorb the oil pastel, whereas with pulp-based paper, the oil pastel lies more on the surface and gives you the opportunity to really blend and even blend your own shades, blend your own colors as you're creating your piece of art with your oil pastels. The overall size of this particular piece is 16 inches by 16 inches. I don't really like to work small when it comes to oil pastel. I mean, let's face it, oil pastel is a pretty blunt instrument. Um, it's not a sharp point like a color pencil or a graphite pencil for that matter. It is a larger, less, what would the word be, finessable, perhaps, uh, art medium. So I personally like to work large because it gives me the opportunity to create detail because I've got so much space to work with. You'll notice that I use my fingers primarily to blend the oil pastels. I know there are folks in, for instance, folks who work with soft pastels, the more chalky kind, who say that the biggest sin you can commit is blending with your fingers because it somehow dulls the crystals and makes your colors less vibrant. I don't find that with oil pastels. In fact, when I first started my art journey, I did work with soft, chalky pastels, and I had a few problems with them. I did not like the dust and dirt they created. I didn't like the idea of breathing it in, and I found that my work surface, no matter where I worked in my home or my studio space, was just covered with the dust of the pastel when I was finished. Just for me personally, I did not think that was a healthy choice. So I thought, I'm gonna try oil pastels, even though they're a completely different medium, and see what I think. And the funny thing is, the first couple pieces I made, I showed to my husband, and I said, I'm never going to work with these again. I absolutely hate them. So they sat around in my inventory unused for a few months, and I brought them back a second time to my studio space, and really started experimenting. And if I could give you one pointer with oil pastels, it is to experiment. Use different papers, use different brands of oil pastels, use different blending tools. Um, a couple of things I really want to advise you against using. I've seen people recommend baby oil as a means of blending oil pastels. Please don't use that. Baby oil is not a drying oil. In the art world, a drying oil is a very specific thing. It's an oil that will um, harden over time. It will dry over time so that you can touch your piece of oil pastel art and it won't be sticky. It won't smear. It'll be a finished piece of work that you really don't even have to put behind glass unless you absolutely want to. So if you're blending with oils while you're using oil pastel, please stick to artist quality drying oils such as linseed or my personal favorite, which is walnut. Another tip, in case you do work with oil pastels and you're looking for new ways to experiment, oil pastels work beautifully on wood such as basswood. They blend very, very well with either tools or with your fingers. Once you're done, you can spray seal them if that's your choice. You can use a matte medium or I'll be honest, I have used Mod Podge on some of my oil pastel paintings just to test it. It's been over 3 years now, and I go back and I keep checking the result, and it has worked beautifully for me. I'm not sure I would do that for a piece I'm entering into an exhibition or selling, but for pieces that I just want to keep for myself and make sure they're safe, I have found Mod Podge to be really, really effective for that purpose. So as you can see here, I'm coming down to the final stages of this portrait, which for me is to add the brightest highlights. The pastel I'm currently using is a Jumbo Haya. It's a brand of oil pastel, Haiya, in case you haven't heard of it. And I find these jumbo Hayas to be absolutely wonderful in terms of sort of that final layer that pops. They're so easy to blend, they're so soft, and they're incredibly affordable. If any of you have questions about this painting or any of the other videos on my channel, please leave them in the comments. I'm fortunate that right now the channel is small enough that I can answer each and every one. So please let me know what you think of this particular painting. If you have questions about how I did it, if you'd like to know more about the papers that I enjoy working on, the brands that I enjoy working with, I would be happy to have a conversation with you. I love to discuss oil pastels. It is my medium of choice. I hope you've enjoyed the demo. And until next time, be well, be happy, and be kind, especially to yourself. See you later.